Holy forced substitutions. This is Flight Check, Season 5, Episode 27. We are back once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest and League of Legends. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes. To my left, and my extra left, my fellow hosts, Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, it was a fast weekend. Some quick 3-0s across the board. 100 Thieves taking down Red Canids on Sunday, knocking them out of LTA playoffs, and cementing the last dance. Going to Worlds. And FlyQuest on Saturday taking down Vivo Cade Stars.
Not the Vikings.
Not the Vikings. Even though every time I see VKS, I want to say Vikings. So it was a fast weekend. Kind of went about as expected. I think the main storylines this weekend are going to be 100 Thieves does it again. And how FlyQuest looked with GAKGOS. And I guess previewing what still kind of feels like a bit of an inevitable FlyQuest championship coming into Dallas. So it's going to be interesting. Curly, what's happening?
Happening?
What was your weekend like? We're gonna do a little bit of opening show fill.
Oh, okay.
Here. What was the best beverage that you imbibed over the weekend?
The best beverage that I imbibed.
It doesn't have to be alcoholic. It could be you. Maybe there was a moment where you had a glass of water that really hit. You know.
Okay. First off, I did have a moment where I had a glass of water, and that was that really hit, and that was like at about hour 6 or 7 of Cedar Point, where all I had the rest of I had some water, and then we just went a long time without getting any hydration, and I had a little bit of water, and that salvaged me. So that was a really good one. But the one that really hit was the peach tea. Ooh. Oh my god. It's for what I don't know when they did it, but obviously you've seen peace tea in the big cans, like either your gas station, maybe some kind of hipstery deli place or something else, and it's pretty solid. But for whatever reason, they released these mini 12, the little 12-ounce cans in a 12-pack, and these ones hit so much harder than the normal peace teas. It was yesterday at D&D. We were over at my friend's house. I cracked one of them. I had a sip, and I was like, huh? And then I couldn't put it down. Aside from the fact that I had to speak because I'm the DM for this group.
Right.
When I was letting them speak, I was like, it was just, it was something else.
Nice.
So yeah, peace tea in the 12-ounce cans hits harder than anything else.
Boom. Love that. Nox, how about you? Best beverage over the weekend?
So my stepmom brews her own tea sometimes, and she had this really nice.
I thought that was going somewhere else, but sure, yeah.
She brews this really nice hibiscus, and I want to say it was peach tea, and so I was just sipping that the whole weekend while we had these massive thunderstorms coming through over the weekend in North Texas.
Nice.
Which, by the way, spoiler alert for anyone coming down to Dallas this coming weekend, there's not currently anything on the radar, but it's also North Texas in storm season.
So it could start raining at literally any moment, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, do not be surprised if a cold front starts coming. This Wednesday, there's supposed to be massive storms coming through, and it's supposed to be a big cold front. It's going to drop from 100 degrees down to upper 80s now. So it'll actually be pretty nice temperature-wise, but there may be more stuff coming. We'll see.
Excellent. Love that. Very cool. I think for me, I'm trying to remember best drink of the weekend. What did we do? I had I had some. Oh, you know what it was? I had a cappuccino yesterday that was actually really, really good.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that a lot. So that was probably my best drink of the weekend. It was
Coffee shop or
coffee shop. We're talking, it was like a nice low 70s September fall day yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It was sunny out, but not like hot, So it was like the perfect, like you could have gotten a nice drink, you could have gotten a hot drink. I went with the hot. Because when the clouds did come in, it was a little chilly, I will say. It was like that perfect weather where you can wear a t-shirt and shorts or a long sleeve and jeans, and you're going to be okay either way. Like, nothing's going to happen to you. So,
Love those.
yeah. That, I would say, was my best drink of the weekend. But, however, some of the best plays over the weekend belonged to FlyQuest. Curly's abandoned the stream after that little segue, which is tough. Man, no approval for that.
I guess that was one of the rougher segues you've had. I guess it actually
that one felt pretty good. Like
I thought it was fine
weekend,
too, but Curly did not.
The best
Curly
plays of the weekend
Had nothing to do with you. My cat was whining.
Oh, the timing was just such that I said it and you got out of your chair. I thought you abandoned ship. I thought it was over.
No.
Incredible.
My cat needed to be let out of my room. It was.
That's amazing. Well, a fat.
Good on good. It doesn't get better than this. I'm on.
A fat. 3-0 from both FlyQuest and 100 Thieves this weekend. I'm trying to think.
Only two people predicted that, by
which
the
is
way.
interesting. Yeah, what are the stats on the predictions from this past weekend? I'm super curious.
Let me actually get the pie charts pulled up. But yeah, only two people actually predicted a 6-0 weekend. And so
it's probably a lot of like 2s and 6s and maybe a good amount of 4s. I doubt there's like any 1s.
So our biggest predictor at 48.6% of the votes for FlyQuest versus Vivo Keyed Stars was FlyQuest 3-1.
Okay.
In which case, I mean, there was a fair chunk of people who predicted FlyQuest 3-0. There was 9 people, 24% of it thought FlyQuest would 3-0. But the problem is, like, you had hardly anyone predicting 100 Thieves to also have a 3-0 weekend versus Red Canids, because there was only 3 people who predicted that. So of those 3, only one of them actually predicted both 3-0s. Or 2 of them, rather.
Wow.
Excuse me.
Interesting. Curly, what did you have on your predictions? Remind me.
I had us 3-1 and 100 Thieves 3-2. I ended up leaning 100 Thieves.
Wow.
Yeah. I was thinking we were going to be a little bit humbled for a match, but boy, was I wrong.
Hey,
I just thought GAKGOS would start slow. That's all I really thought it was. I mean, we can get into GAKGOS here in a little bit, but I wasn't terribly wrong on that either.
Well, I think talking about GAKGOS kind of gets into what I wanted to talk about, which was kind of a bit of the drafting here. So what I thought was interesting about bringing in GAKGOS, so, beyond like his actual play and whatnot, the thing that was really interesting to me was that we got top counter pick for GAKGOS every single time. We prioritized making sure that he could get the lane matchup that he felt comfortable with, which I think, to me, is fair. And I know in the pros episode today, I think Inspired, alluded to it a little bit. He also talked about how, the team played around him a little bit more, and that, when they played Disguised previously and GAKGOS went up against Castle, Castle is no slouch, right? And I think, Nox, you had previously said it on an episode that you felt that Castle was kind of like the bar to clear for LTA top laners this split. Like, if you can beat Castle you're probably like in the top half of top laners.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting that Inspired was basically like, hey, we didn't really enable him as well as we could have the last time he played. And now, you're giving him counterpick, 3 matches, 3 games in a row. I believe, so game 1, he picks the Irelia into the Ambessa, which was honestly, I felt like he did really well. He took the Jax into the Gwen,
Yep.
game 2, and then game 3 he takes the Aatrox into the Scion. And I think Draft did a lot here. I felt like that Trundle into the Scion was absolutely killer in game 3. That was huge. Obviously, the Misfortune Nico combo in game 3 was absolutely insane. When that combo works, it really works. But both of you, and I'll ask Curly first, how do you feel about, first of all, the Irelia pick? Fascinating, obviously. We haven't seen a lot of Irelia this year. Obviously, we know it's GAKGOS' comfort champ. But how do we feel about so clearly giving him counterpick 3 games in a row and just playing in a way that keeps him comfortable, and not leaving him out on an island?
I mean, I think that's a great way to get someone introduced to this level of play, because it's all right, give them the best tools so that they can really show it. Because even if that's the case, he still has to show up, and he did against Bull.
Right.
So I'm very happy that we're able to do that. But then on top of that, I think it's really good. It's a really good sign for the rest of the team, because it shows that the 4 of them are so solidly knit together, that you can swap in this player who's only had 1 game before in the LTA and it didn't quite go well, and they were able to learn from that 1 game to better set them up for success. I think having someone who can take what you give them and really make the most of it, which GAKGOS did, is important. Other people might be like, oh, well, you're babying the new rookie, and it's only Brazil. And granted, okay, maybe you're right. It is Brazil. As we learned this weekend, there's a bit of a disparity there. Shopify Rebellion kind of softened, our view for a little bit, but we got reminded of reality here for a second. What I would be intrigued by, and I don't know if we'll be able to find this out, is how this translates to the international stage, long-term, Worlds, and then especially even if we actually did it against 100 Thieves themselves. Okay, we showed that GAKGOS can hold his own against VKS. Can he hold his own against Dokla? I would love to see that. I'd love to find out. But I think being able to set up for success, especially with Irelia specifically being not only a comfort pick for him, but a unique pick for the current state of meta, it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Nox, how about you? The Irelia pick, he absolutely crushed it in lane. Do you think that this says more about where GAKGOS is at or where the team was at this weekend in playing for him?
I think it's more where the team's at. On top of, in addition to that, who they're playing against. Not to say that Boel is bad or anything. I thought watching LTA South this past split, I thought he was a solid top laner. I don't think he's number 1 in the region currently, but he's definitely one you have to keep your eye on. But I don't think it was anyone that was really that's going to absolutely punish you for your play. And so the fact that Fly is drafting so that way GAKGOS can have these counter matchups. I mean, Irelia is a notorious lane bully, is very frustrating to play against. Jax can go into a lot of different matchups, and so also is obviously something that he's comfortable in. And the Aatrox and the Scion is unless you really egregiously mess up, you probably shouldn't be losing that lane. It's more of where can you find areas to push your leads, right? Because the Scion's meant to be kind of this supportive kind of tank pick for VKS, and so with all that in mind, it's like I thought GAKGOS was fine, but it really did feel like the team was mainly playing for him, making sure he's comfortable on stage. I mean, this is only like real big first test that he's ever had, and it's an international. I mean, I know it's Brazil, but I mean it's still an international best of 5 series. Like it's pretty important still. So I mean, I think more than anything, GAKGOS did fine. I think he did his job. I think he met expectations. There was even a thing in the pros podcast earlier where apparently Inspired had been surprised by or maybe it was an interview. I forget. Maybe it wasn't pros, but Inspired was surprised by something that GAKGOS had done, warding the top lane in the game 3, basically as like a way to catch out if Bull was doing a lane swap. And Inspired apparently had been like, "What are you doing? Why are you warding there?" And it's like, "Hey, it tells me if he's going to lane swap." And sure enough, you see, like, literally 30 seconds later, Sion goes into that middle brush, he recalls, and FlyQuest immediately is, "Oh, hey, they're swapping." And so they swap lanes too, so that way they can match. So, yeah, I think decent showing from GAKGOS. He's someone that I think still probably needs a lot more time if the FlyQuest is spending this many resources and energy in draft to make sure that he feels is supported, because this is not something you can get away with forever, even in the domestic stage, let alone international. So, yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with how they played around GAKGOS. And straight up, just for the sake of competitiveness, I am looking forward to Bwipo coming back.
Yeah, I think for Worlds, he certainly brings an element to the team, where he does have maybe a bit more of that aggression that is sometimes needed. I mean, obviously, which can backfire, right? But yeah, he does bring that extra element. It was funny, they did point it out on the cast, but it was also it was very noticeable how distinctly calmer the comms were in some of the fights where it's basically just Inspired and Busio. They're the only ones talking. Yeah, because they're really the ones who need to control things. But normally in fights, Bwipo's talking a mile a minute as well, and he's got so much to say in the fight. So it's just very funny to hear team fights where it's just cool, calm, collected, Inspired, and Busio, just yep, Sion's ulting. All right, yeah, Sion no ult. Yep, he flashed. All right, cool, great. Also, the funniest comm I thought of the weekend was, I forget who said it. I think Masu maybe had said it, but he got 1 or 2 kills on that Penta. Maybe he got 1 kill and then was like, "Penta?" He saw the Penta angle.
Yep.
After
kill.
1 kill, which was crazy.
It was very fast, but it's also kind of funny because that was exactly what Inspired did on his Penta on Tryndamere too.
Right.
2 kills in, he's like, Penta.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it's a meme now amongst pros in the LTA of just you get 1 or 2 kills and the fight's looking good, you just start calling Penta.
Right.
Just start calling it.
Yeah. Just start calling your Penta. Call your shot. How do we feel about running the comps like the Nico Misfortune? Because obviously it hit in Game 3, and it hit multiple times. When you're coordinated like that, you can really sync it up. But going into some of our tougher matchups in Worlds, is that too much of a gamble to take against teams that will certainly be way more coordinated than VKS were?
I mean, it really depends on what team you're playing against and what they're drafting.
Mm-hmm.
I think in general for me, Misfortune is kind of a game 4, game 5 kind of pick. It's still absolutely playable. It's not something that you're letting slide by, especially when the series is going deep.
Mm-hmm.
Nico, especially with Busio, because Busio is a very, very, very good Nico. That could be kind of drafted anywhere. And so for me, that should just be if you see the angle for a Nico for Busio, just take it. Don't worry about trying to get it comboed with the Misfortune as good as it can be. If you see the angle for it, just go for it. So as long as he can continue doing that, I'm happy with just grabbing the Nico wherever it may be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not overly stressing the need to hit those kind of combos or getting those kind of setups. But I mean, at the same time, if you do, I feel like it's not you just need to make sure you're not drafting it into something that can punish you for it.
Right. Curly, how about you?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on some of the more combo-y comps? Wombo combo.
I mean,
comps?
I think those would be good for like APAC, some LEC teams, and even the LPL actually. Partially because I know there's always like a history of the LPL being a bit scrappier than like the LCK. So I think if you find the right window, you could really punish them for that. And then I know I've seen a lot of grit out of the APAC team. So that's another like those wombo combo type of compositions might really work well against them. So
Right.
yeah, I do think there's a good angle for it. I would probably call it for. I think saving it game 4, game 5 is a great idea. I also think like maybe
I'd
making
rather
it
pull
probably
out a
about like
wombo combo comp than a zillion in a game 5, right?
yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah. But I also think probably making it like 40% of your pick if you can
Right.
is a good call,
Right.
particularly in like Swiss stage.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about GAKGOS a little bit if we want. Just like as a little bit an aside. I think obviously, there's still this weekend to get through. There's still Worlds to get through. But as we kind of forecast the future a little bit, right? And we look into the reason why they brought this team in. Or why they brought this player in, sorry. Obviously, the idea was to kind of train someone up who can take over for Bwipo in the future. And whether that means Bwipo becomes a coach, or he goes somewhere else, or he retires, or whatever. I am interested to hear you all's thoughts. Obviously, the data, the sample size is very small. But we've seen FlyQuest kind of do this, and it hasn't necessarily even been like this iteration of FlyQuest. A player like Takui, if you will throw your mind back, plucked out of the lower tier ERLs, brought over, and performed at a fairly decent level for LCS.
Mid-tier, upper mid-tier LCS.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, like, we get a similar thing going here, where it's like, you get a upper mid-tier top laner in GAKGOS, who, from my understanding, is he still 17 or is he 18 now?
If he's 17, he's just about to turn 18.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Or, like, it's soon if he hasn't turned.
It's got to be soon. So you got a very young player who, like, this is probably his first real experience doing, like, serious scrims. I can't imagine that in the lower ERLs that he was in, that his scrims were, like, high level.
Okay, I got it. He turns 18 on January 4th.
Right, okay, so right before the season starts, right? So,
Word.
You've got an 18-year-old high potential, theoretically, top laner.
Yes.
Kind of, like, I don't want to equate them as players, but, like, I'm getting, like, the same vibe as, like, Sniper, right? Where you've got a player who is coming in, has a very high mechanical ceiling, and a lot of potential, and you're bringing them in and you're hoping you hit a home run in the same way that you've hit a home run with Masu, you've hit a home run with Busio. Even in a way, you've hit a home run with Quad. Like, all three of those players, you hit home runs with. Inspired was a known quantity. Bwipo was a known quantity. You knew what you were getting from those guys. But, like, Masu, like, he was amazing in Tier 2, and then sometimes players are amazing in Tier 2 and they don't do so well in Tier 1. He's been amazing in Tier 1. Busio's been amazing in Tier 1. Quad has had an absolute renaissance on FlyQuest for his career. So I guess my question to you guys is, going into next season, what are you needing to see, now that we have this data from GAKGOS, what are you needing to see to feel confident in him going into 2026, if that is the move that is made?
I mean, if we see him at Worlds and he gets a win, that holds really really well, that's kind of what I would want to see. Especially, I'd want to see him like against an LEC team at the very least, if that's possible.
I don't see where he's getting games at Worlds.
That's fair, and
I also don't see that.
I can agree with that. But I'm saying, like you're saying, what do I want to see for going into 2026? I'd need to see something. Like I'm happy with what I'm seeing right now, but I need something. If that is like outside of a Brazil match, so put him against K Corp when they make Worlds. All right, I don't know.
Knox, how about you? What are you needing? Like, what would be the next step up for him for 2026?
I think you go into 2026, and I mean, at the end of the day, I think regardless of what you show in scrims, what you show in solo queue, I kind of think it kind of comes down to what Andrew Barton wants to do with Bwipo.
Right.
Does he want to move on from Bwipo? Does he want to put Bwipo into a coaching role? Does he think that Bwipo is no longer going to be performing at an elite level on the Rift? Like, he's still performing at a good level, but will he perform at an elite level? Depending on what Andrew sees in Bwipo, I think is what is going to be your answer for GAKGOS, which kind of sucks because it's like the power's not in your hands. Like, you have to do everything you can on top of the fact that you have to rely upon another guy to be like, yeah, I just don't think the guy that's above you is worthy. Now you can come in. I think that's literally what it's going to be. So I think GAKGOS in this off season, you grind hard. You show like you're really taking solo queue seriously. You study like actual competitive play as much as you can. And I mean, from what I heard from Inspired today, he's averaging 1 scrim a day currently. Past week he
got all the scrims the past week and a half.
Yeah, previous to this week and before the whole Bwipo situation, he was getting 1 scrim a day. So I think in those 1 scrims, you really show that you're starting to understand competitive play and being able to work with your team and synergize with your team, and you hope for the best in that regard.
Right.
And then once 2026 hits, if Andrew Barton gives you that opportunity and you are the starter, buckle up, buddy. You better like ready, like foot to the pedal to the metal. Like, you better go. You better start learning and showing what you got. I think that's all that it really comes down to.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the question then, and then we'll move on from this. Is Bwipo at Worlds this year? Is he playing for his 2026 spot on FlyQuest?
Yes, I would say absolutely yes.
Like, if he has if he has a bad tournament, should that be it for him on this team? Well, in terms of playing, obviously.
If he has a bad tournament, no, but he better have he better be able to be in the background, like really whispering some sweet nothings in Andrew Martin's ear than like some other one. You know?
Yeah. Curly, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hesitant to make such decisive claims before the tournament even happens. Especially because I don't really know the full thought process behind what Andrew or anyone over at FlyQuest is truly thinking when it comes to these players. I don't know what the switch up is going to be of when they retire Bwipo, quote unquote, not literally just from the play-in roster, and put GAKGOS as their front man. I do think a bad performance would certainly fast track that, even if it doesn't mean being dropped fully or anything like that. It might be like, okay, GAKGOS probably going to get a bit more time in the first split next season. So yeah, I do think he has to really perform well, or else GAKGOS might just get that front man spot. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Other matchup this weekend was 100 Thieves taking down Red Canids. It was pretty 100 Thieves favored. Red Canids had a decent showing in Game 2, but 100 Thieves team fighting took them out. The last dance continues. Dokla with some interesting words today on the pros episode, and I'm gonna pull them up real quick once I find the thing. So first of all, Dokla said that he thinks that this 100 Thieves team is even better skill-wise than the 2023 NRG roster. And now, recall that I think last week I compared this team directly to that NRG roster in terms of, like, the vibe feels similar. Where you've kind of got this, like, scrappy, youngish team of, like, guys that, like, are generally considered mid-tier who are just, like, on a tear right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he says that they're better skill-wise than the 2023 NRG roster. That's point one. Point two, this is just as an aside, Lion offered him a spot halfway through the split, so basically, you know, take over, like, don't, like, not have Surdy play, but Dokla would come in instead. So my first question is, if Dokla had gone to Lion, do you think that would have changed Lion's fortunes? And after you give me that yes or no, B, what do you think on this comment that this Thieves iteration is better than the 2023 NRG roster?
Do I think it would have changed Lion's trajectory? Slightly yes, because 100 Thieves would not have had Dokla. I do think Lion actually ends up winning that series. Do I think Lion makes the run, though? No, I do not. So, would have been a little bump for Lion.
Shopify,
I
maybe?
think this would have...
Shopify, maybe. Well, actually, you probably would have gotten then Cloud9 here.
Yeah.
And then
which Cloud,
I don't know. I don't know what it would have
It's
happened.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think Lion makes it to the top 3, though. I think they probably get stopped by someone.
Okay.
But I do think they end up taking that series versus 100 Thieves, though.
Makes sense.
Which gets, obviously, you have a whole different timeline because 100 Thieves is no longer even in the talking. They're out of the LTA at this point. They're not even done with the season. They're done with their whole career. So
I just ended this man's career.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, I think it would have changed some things, but I don't think it would have made like a lasting change on the overall trajectory of the timeline, so to speak. What was the second question?
Well, Curly, do you want to give me your answer
Curly,
on the
Yeah.
Lion thing?
Especially because of how volatile it was in those like second and third weeks of the split and then early playoffs, I do think it could have it would have shaken things up a bit. I don't think I agree with Knox. I don't think they would have made it as deep of a run.
Mm-hmm.
If he had went with Lion, but it would have changed a few outcomes. Who did 100 Thieves face after Lion? Was it Disguise?
They faced...
No, that was the Cloud9 disguised. They faced Team Liquid and took them down.
Team Liquid?
Yeah, Team Liquid,
yeah.
I think they still would have beaten Team Liquid.
Liquid did not look good at the end of the season.
No, Liquid kind of flopped hard, so it would have been after that was then Cloud9, right?
Right.
Okay. I think they would have been they would have hit the wall against Cloud9, but they still would have made it an okay run.
You want a hot take?
Hot take. Hit it.
I think actually Liquid does beat Lion.
Interesting.
I think because if you remember that game 2 versus 100 Thieves, and even to a certain extent that game 1, like TL actually looked okay. They really did. In fact, most of game 2 they were winning, but they just couldn't close it out. I think versus Lion, I think TL ends up taking that series, and I think that's probably where Lion and Dokla's run ends if Dokla ends up joining that team.
No, that's interesting.
After that, though, I do think Cloud9 claps TL, but that's, again, we're getting into hypotheticals at this point.
All right, so question 2 then. Is this 100 Thieves team better skill-wise than that fabled 2023 NRG roster that made quarters
Disagree
at Worlds?
Wholeheartedly. No question in my mind.
And why so, Curly? Why so emphatically?
Why so emphatically? Okay, so first off, you have two parts that are the same. You have Dokla and you have FBI. So that's parallel. I would argue River does have a higher ceiling and will perform better than Contracts. I'd say at rest, they are like at River's kind of mid, and Contracts mid-performing. I'd say they're at about an equivalence. The real differences for me are the mid lane and the support role. Okay, now granted, this split this season, Palafox has looked like a freaking heart monitor in terms of how well he's performing. And who he has kind of like been like the kiddie coaster, where there's some humps and there's some like dips, maybe a little bit of a whirl. So like right now, not peak, but in 2023, Palafox and who he are like, I know this is going to be crazy. 2023, Palafox is leagues above Quid, in my humble opinion. I just think like when he has his main character moments, he pulls off some things that just don't make sense to some people and can play really, really well. And his consistency, sure, not as there. But I think overall, Palafox was the better player in 2023 than Quid is now. And I do think Huhi, for most of his support career, has always been a better support than Ayla. So that's what really sets it apart for me. And then I think if I'm drawing it even further back, the coaching staff. Golden Glue has been doing really good with 100 Thieves this year. I'm very proud of him for what he's been able to do. However, I think the armada of coaches that NRG had and the vibes they had behind him were just a better scene altogether than 100 Thieves.
Okay. Knox, any counter?
I'm going to be blunt. I think if you take 2023 Palafox and put him in the Days League versus Quid, I think Quid just claps him 10 times out of 10.
Whoa!
I don't think Palafox was a lot better, obviously, than now. But 2023 Palafox, I still don't even think was all that amazing.
Right.
I think he was just good, and he and the team had great synergy because of all the coaches they had, and they understood how to play the game very, very well. Right. I think Quid is a far better player than Palafox has ever been, just straight up. I will agree, Huhi in 2023 is a far better player than Ayla has ever been, absolutely. So I will give that one. I think, unfortunately, I love Contracts. He's someone I've always kind of cheered for generally throughout the years. Yeah. But I think River's always, in general, been a better player than Contracts has been. Not by much, granted. Contracts has had a lot of high highs, but I think on average, River's just been a little bit better. So with that said, then you have the parallels of FBI and Dokla. I think Dokla's kind of whatever. I mean, I think he's probably about the same as he was back in 2023. I actually do think FBI this year has had a lot of better moments and higher highs than he has back in 2023. 2023, I had this mindset of FBI being this kind of just stable, like, hey, I'm going to output damage, but I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm going to do it on low resources. And I'm really going to, like, just allow Palafox and Contracts to be the main superstars of this team. And he was just kind of the backup damage that was needed to get things cleaned up. This year on 100 Thieves, though, he's had a lot of highs, and he's looked really, really good. He's also had some low lows, too. I think he's playing much more on a knife's edge, which is what 100 Thieves, like, just as a team plays like. And so for that, I mean, I think if you really want to have a chance to go far in the Worlds regard, I think you need someone who's going to play on a knife's edge like that. You're not going to have someone like, you can't have another Ghost, if you will, from Damwon.
Right.
I think you really have to have someone that is going to play on a knife's edge and like really push the team forward. And I think that's what FBI offers right now. Yeah. And because he's playing on a knife's edge, I think that's a higher skill set than what it is to like be low resource and just generally output damage. I mean, is it necessary sometimes? Yes. Is it a respectable playstyle? Absolutely. But I don't think that's what's needed. And I think the actual higher skill cap is playing on a knife's edge than low resource still putting out damage.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of an interesting little philosophy discussion. We want to get into that later.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for you though. Would this 100 Thieves have beaten that splits Cloud9, and would they have been able to beat G2 to get to quarterfinals?
Back in 2023,
who was on that G2 roster? That was Caps. That was year one of Caps, Hansama, Mickey, Broken Blade, and Yike. No. Who was jungling? Who was jungling that year?
Hold on.
It was Broken Blade and Caps, Hansama.
It was Broken Blade, Yike, Caps, Hansama, and Mickey X.
I nailed it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, top.
I don't.
Right on.
Okay.
And then they had Fudge, Blabber, M&S, Berserker, Sven.
Okay, so to answer your question, beating that Cloud9, I mean, maybe I could see a world. That was the year where Fudge was really starting to fall off a lot. I thought Blabber was having issues, and Menace was starting to like have him just this giant mental collapse. Right? I could see him beating that Cloud9.
I mean, Energy met them at the right time, basically.
Yeah. And so I could see this year's 100 Thieves beating that Cloud9. I will say, and I'm gonna keep it a buck here. As much as I love to brag that NRG beat G2 and made it to quarters over them back in 2023. Their scrim rate versus G2 was horrible. Like, all their scrims in general at Worlds that year were horrible. NRG was not a good team at Worlds that year. They just showed up on the matches that mattered, and G2 absolutely fumbled the bag. Just straight up. Like, that was very much a series where it's like, yeah, NRG did enough to win it, but G2 were not playing good. Any other year or any other match day, I think, and I think G2 probably clears them. Because if I remember right, their scrim record was like 20% win rate versus G2.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
It was bad.
It was really, really bad. So, with that said, no, I don't think the 100 Thieves beats that G2 either.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I think I have to give this to the current Thieves. I just take River over Contracts so much. I take Quid over Palafox so much. Who was NRG's support back then?
Huhi.
Mm-hmm. Ayla, 2023 Huhi and current Ayla, I would say, are about even. I think FBI is playing better right now. I think he's on one.
Yep, I agree.
Dokla now versus then, it's hard for me to say. But I think I just think the mid jungle combo for 100 Thieves is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, like legitimately they rival our mid jungle combo. For like, I think it's neck and neck, frankly. River is just so freaking good. He's so creative. Quid is so mechanically gifted. Like I have a lot of respect for this roster. Like, I fully expect to be facing them on Sunday. And I don't know if it's going to be as simple as the last best of 5 was. I could see it being very interesting on Sunday. So, that's just kind of my thoughts and feelings on it. Hey, speaking of that, though, the preview. It's time. It's time to preview the LTA finals. All right. Saturday, Vivo Keydstars drops down to losers finals, taking on 100 Thieves. I have 100 Thieves winning this one handily. You know, Trimby talked about in pros today that, like, the way they played in Brazil, no one was able to challenge them on it, and so they just kept doing it. And then they got up here, and Flyquist just clapped them on it. I don't know. Between having a week of scrims to fix that, and you have to travel, and you're not in your own usual, you know, practice space. You know, I think they were using Riot PCs or borrowing from other teams' compounds to practice. I really don't see how VKS turns it around. Maybe they'll give 100 Thieves 100 Thieves will give them a game somewhere. So right now I've got 100 Thieves 3-1 on this, which I know is the safe answer. Yes, I know. But that's kind of where I'm landing on it. Where are you guys? Nox, how many games are we seeing on Saturday?
We're seeing 3.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm,
It's
yep.
sad.
We're seeing 3. You and I are.
I gotta
go
find something
full
purple to
out.
wear, and I'm gonna be rooting for Vivo Keed though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be rooting
A
for Vivo Keed.
100% true statistic is 100 Thieves has only ever played 3 games in a grand finals or semifinals.
Wow.
Like whether winning or losing, they've only played 3 matches.
Dang. Nice. That's pretty cool. So you're saying 3-0 then, Curly, on Saturday.
Absolutely.
And then you're saying another 3-0 the other way on Sunday.
100%.
Okay, so we've all got the Thieves making it. Curly's got the 3-0. Nox, are you also a 3-0 for FlyQuest? You sounded a little
No.
skeptical of that earlier.
100 Thieves, especially because you have to keep in mind, Bwipo has not been scrimming at all for the past 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
He's probably starting to scrim now, but I think he's probably gonna pull a Bwipo in the top lane at some point. And I think 100 Thieves in the team fighting is good enough to. It'll be like the last grand final that we just had, right? 100 Thieves team fighting and their aggression is good enough to actually punish FlyQuest on a game.
Right.
So I am going to give it a 3-1 to Fly, but 100 Thieves knows how to really push teams that, hey, you better have, your setups downright perfect, otherwise we will punish you and we will run away with the fight, and we will continue to just snowball from there because our wallets are bigger than yours.
Right.
They will do that. You do have to give them that respect. But in general, our macros just, ours exists, theirs doesn't exist at all. They don't have any macro at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, as long as we got that going for us, our team fighting is acceptable enough that we can actually go blow for blow with them, and then with our added macro, we will win the games.
I think that's a fair take on it. Okay. So we're all predicting the FlyQuest dub. Final point of information tonight. The first domino in the offseason already has fallen. Well, maybe not the first domino. Maybe the first major domino fell today, which is amazing because normally this stuff happens on a Tuesday and we can't talk about it. Impact departs Team Liquid. I think a lot of us saw this coming.
Just didn't think it would be this quick.
I really did not think it would be so soon. I'll just say that clearly he was struggling this year. He was really not at his best. I think, if I had to guess, probably just the overall team was struggling this year, and I think that contributed to him also struggling. I am hopeful that he is able to bounce back in a major way. I think there is still a place in the league for him, whether as a player or in a coaching role. I think he has a lot to offer. I don't think he's not bad by any means, you know? So I certainly think it's possible for him to, show up and do something. I think there's several teams that could use a high-quality top laner. An MVP level top laner, a world's winning top laner in Impact. Do you guys agree that he still has a place as a player next season, or should he find greener coaching pastures?
I think because if you read his tweet, he clearly had been struggling mentally over something. I don't know what it was, but I think if he takes this offseason to clear his head, I don't see a reason why he can't play another year. I mean, he was literally just MVP this past year. He was the best in the league, the best player, regardless of role. So, for me, I find it hard to believe that it's man, he just completely crashed and burned that hard after 1 year. So I think whatever it is, I don't know if it's he needs to go to a sports psychologist or something, or if it's actual legit therapy for something or what. But I think if he clears out his mental block or whatever it may be, I absolutely bring him in as a top laner. I think he's someone that you should absolutely value to have on your team as a player and a great top laner in the league. He will immediately be one of the top 3 top laners in the league, bare minimum, if he's got his mental block cleared out. So yeah, I would absolutely aim to see if his head's in the right spot. I'm absolutely going to get him as a player.
Yeah. Curly, what do you think?
No. I mean, I think it's all right to take a break for a little bit.
And that, yeah, absolutely. That too.
Like, he's had a very storied career. He's been on, like, he's got a huge legacy in the entire LoL esports scene, but here in North America specifically. And like, shit, look at some of the people on our teams that were out of play for about a year, you know, taking that time off and coming back all refreshed with a new fire. Like Blippo took a year off after his TL split, or like his year at TL, did some content creation, came back, has like been consistently, like, I'd say a lot better than he was on Fnatic. Like, just a really good driving force. Quad was out for a little bit, also in the streamer role, came back in, and bam, like, he's looked a lot good, like a lot better, and had, like you said, a whole renaissance of a career. So I think, especially with such a sharp fall off that happened over this year, I think the time might be something that he has deserved and would help him maintain a better long-term standing in LoL esports as a whole. I would love to see him in some form of guidance and education. And then, hell, I'm sure he would even look good, like, broadcasting, maybe back in LCK, so that he can, you know, maybe comment on some players that he's played with.
Yeah.
It's always nice when players do that caster role and they go back home and all that stuff. But I didn't Huni do the same thing after his retirement? Like, where he went back to LCK for a while?
He went from NA, he went back and he played at T1 in the mid-finals. They lost. But then after that, he retired and went to casting in the LCK.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, like, the top lane to take it off to casting pipeline, it exists. It's there for you. Take it if you want.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, he's got options, and whatever he decides to do, I'm happy. And especially I'm happy that somewhere along his history, we were there. FlyQuest was one of the teams along his road.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, if he doesn't come back next year, he will be missed for sure. He's a worthy player. All right, I think that brings us to the end tonight. Thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of Flight Check Finals this weekend. If you're going to be in Dallas, you're going to see me and Nox were there in the stands. Me cheering on Vivo Keed on Saturday. Hey, and maybe I'll cheer for them on Sunday. You never know, you know? Stranger things have occurred. That'll be probably 4 o'clock Eastern for both matches. 3 o'clock Central if you're going to be like us. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for all our reactions and thoughts to finals. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew. Myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. You got to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion otherwise taking place. Maybe a couple slots left in our roster Deadpool as well.
I think we're full.
Oh, we might be full. Okay, well, belay that message. There's no such thing as the roster Deadpool. You know, there is no Deadpool in Ba Sing Se.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. If you missed any part of the episode, the VOD's going to be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and want to catch the show live, you're in luck. We do broadcast the episode pretty much every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Nox, any final notes, shoutouts, or plugs before we call it a night?
Shout out. I don't know, man. Shout out to Solar Energy and shout out to the kava that my wife is bringing home for me for dinner.
Ooh, love to see it.
Nice.
Curly, how about you?
I'm going to be shouting out Cedar Point and Hollow Weekends. Always a fun time. An interesting fact that I realized while I was there this weekend is I currently am on record for going there every other year and only during Hollow Weekends. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
That trend will be broken next year because my friend persuaded me on a season pass, so I need to get my damn money out of it. But regardless, Cedar Point, Hollow Weekends, great time. And again, shout out to Water because that saved me towards the end of the night.
There you go. My shout out is going to go to, well, it's going to be more like a encouragement to the fantasy football players that I need to really pop off. I need Amon Ross, St. Brown, and Zay Flowers to actually do something. Just get some touchdowns. I just need, between the two of you, I straight up just need 24 more points. PPR. It's so possible. Catch some balls. Just do it. Just catch the ball.
Do it.
Just do it. All right. That is going to do it for us tonight. We'll be back maybe next Monday night, fresh off a flight, to discuss LTA finals. So for now, stay safe out there and bite your teeth. Do not forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.